So beginning with O-Calc 5.2, there is the ability to have the notes have a status, TBD status it's called, that allows you to sort of understand the completeness of any work items you might have or notes you might have left yourself in order to finish up a poll. So let's just take a really simple example and say that, say for example, I'm working on this cross arm and I realize that in the field this is not a double arm, and I want to send it back to the person who originally did the work and say that they need to fix it. So what I can do is I can add a note, and I could say this should be a single arm. And under the note type, I'm going to put it as initial. It's an initial thing. Now you notice what happened here is that the note itself got a little flag that says this is a TBD item. The note's parent, which is the arm, got a little coloration, and in fact the poll itself got a little coloration, so even if I sent it back but the things collapsed like that, I could look at this and say, oh, I know that there is in fact a TBD item somewhere underneath this, and I can open up the tree and find out where it is. Now, in order to have that displayed like that, you actually have to turn on an option, which is info tips and data. You have to say show TBD item status. If I don't, then what happens is I get the little flag on the note itself, the icon, but I don't get that business where the parents of those items are color-coded to let me know. So if this is a functionality you're going to use, I would suggest, it's not necessary, that you turn on the show TBD item status flag, and then that'll make it so that they'll all show up like this. So I go ahead and I send this back to the person who did the work, and they see, oh, here's the note, and they go ahead and they read the note. It says should be a single arm, and they say, okay, I fixed it. Okay, fixed, and they then set it to complete, which now turns it to yellow, with the understanding that it should then go back to the supervisor, in which case the supervisor would then set it to accepted, in which case it'll turn green and I know I'm good to go. So it's very simplistic, but it is pretty useful if I have a very complex poll, or if I have perhaps a make-ready poll, and I want to put little notes that say these are the things that need to be done to do the make-ready operation, and I can then very quickly tell the status of the whole thing. In fact, let's take a look at that. Let me take a copy of this note, and I'll add a second one to the poll, and I'll set one of them to accepted, but I'll set a second one to initial. You'll notice that the note that was actually accepted by the supervisor is green, but the parent gets the status indication of the least completed item in the TBD hierarchy. So I can still tell, although there's one completed here, there's still something that needs to be done, and it is in fact to do whatever the heck this note talks about. And so that way I can sort of get a wrapped up status, or I can put notes on multiple sub-items, and then the poll would get the wrapped up status of all of the children. So that's the TBD subsystem. It's pretty straightforward and self-explanatory, but it's also very useful.